Good morning, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends. After yesterday's intensive and fruitful exchanges of ideas, we have gathered once again in this hall to commence the second day of the 2025 International CMC Conference. I'm Wang Fengzuo, your host for today's session. First, on behalf of the organizers, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you for joining us again today. Yesterday was truly inspiring. We listened to keynote speeches, thematic presentations, and dynamic dialogues from representatives of various institutions and enterprises. Through these exchanges, we engaged in profound reflections on the development of the consulting industry. We not only explored future trends with a focus on AI-driven changes, but also contemplated how to navigate them effectively. We revisited the essence of management consulting while discussing the responsibility of the consulting community in fostering sustainable and high-quality development. Many of you also joined us for a wonderful evening at the Constantinople Award ceremony. As the first item on today's agenda, we will have a special Chairman's Forum. We are delighted to have 4 chairmen of ICMCI who serve in different periods with us today. And it is a great pleasure for us to have Professor Liu Shaoxuan, Vice Dean of Antai College of Economics and Management, Executive Dean of Bank of China School of Technology Finance at Shanghai Jiao Tong University, to moderate this forum.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the IMC Council Chairman Forum. I'm Shaoxuan Liu from Antai College of Economics and Management, and also SJTU BOC Institute of Technology and Finance at Shanghai Jiao Tong University. It's a great honor for me to serve as the moderator of today's roundtable discussion. We are very delighted to have several distinguished leaders from the global management consulting community with us here today to share their insights on the current challenges and the future development of the consulting industry. So let me briefly introduce our distinguished panelists first, and then we will go on to have hopefully very interactive and discussion. Let me begin by welcoming Mr. Nicholas Vogt. Nicholas is from United Kingdom, and he is the current president of the International Council of Management Consulting Institutes, or ICMCI. He's a chartered engineer and a registered management consultant. Since 1990, Nicholas had led a consulting firm dedicated to business transformation and performance improvement across Eastern Europe and the Middle East. Our next panelist is Mr. Robert Bornstein from Austria. Mr. Bornstein is a registered management consultant and the former president of ICMCI. He led the development of the ISO 20700 guidelines for management consulting service. And we briefly discussed about this before the forum. It's a very important development, which contributes significantly to advancing professional standards worldwide. Our third guest is Mr. Francisco Dapro from Italy. He's a registered management consultant and also the former chairman of both ICMCI and Italian Association of Management Consultants. As a partner at P&D Consulting, Mr. Dapro works to promote business collaboration between China and Europe. Thank you very much for that. And our last panelist is Mr. Sarin Cohen from Romania. Mr. Kayan is a registered management consultant and the former chairman of ICMCI, and with over 30 years of consulting experience at the BDO, he has served as president of AMCO and has extensive experience in both public and private consulting projects across Romania and other countries. So we have 4 chairmen here today, which is all have extensive experience in consulting industry. And so the first question I would like our panelists to share their insight is about the impact of technology. Nowadays, everybody is talking about AI or artificial intelligence technology. So my first question is, what are the biggest challenging consulting firms face in the age of AI? Do you believe AI will replace traditional consultants, or will it instead enhance their strategic value? Let's start with Nicholas first.
Thank you. Well, let's face it, artificial intelligence is already a disruptor in a consulting profession. We're already seeing the effects on the major consulting companies of the introduction of artificial intelligence. The main effect certainly, firstly, will be in the replacement of those members of staff in consulting companies who were engaged in what we might call the backroom activities of putting bid documents together, of reviewing and auditing and curating reports. Already it's being reported that the Big Four consultancies have reduced their recruitment by nearly 50%. And that drop in recruitment is at the level of those people who undertake the backroom activities and the research work and so on. So that is the primary effect that's taking place at the moment. Obviously, if you're one of those people who's affected, then it's bad news. But of course, for the companies themselves and for us, it's good news because AI is a great tool that can help consultants in their work. Having said that, it will never ever replace the work that a true management consultant does, which is very much face-to-face, building relationship with client. And that is something which, certainly in the current state of AI development, is not going to happen. So yes, the effect is there, it's going to grow, but primarily it will be not so much the sort of high-level, high sophistication of consultants in the big companies that will be affected.
Okay, so what Nicholas is saying is AI is definitely a disruptive technology, and it's bad news for young consultants, for people who are planning to enter the industry, and because Nicholas said that we have seen that the consulting firm have reduced their headcount or reduced their recruitment by as much as 50%, right? So it's getting more difficult to get in the industry. On the other hand, for the existing industry, companies, this is good, a very great tool for a company to improve their productivity. And so, in a sense, what you are saying is that the AI will not replace the senior consultant who has a lot of experience. So So the competition will be the people who understand or who can utilize the technology will be the one that cannot be replaced. So the people will be replaced by people who understand technology and use this very efficiently. Okay, what's your opinion, Robert, on this topic?
Good morning from my side, and thank you for the introduction, and thank you, Nick, for setting the scene to this topic. I would like to start with a comment from maybe a more big picture perspective. I had a very good discussion these days with a professor from a technical university, and they have a research running about how far is AI better than human intelligence. And they found out in recognizing patterns, human intelligence, interestingly, for more or less every kind of pattern, leaves a failure rate of around about 7%. AI leaves a failure rate of less than 1, maybe 2%. So following that, I would think most of us would say, okay, then let's keep it at the AI level, because less failures meaning improvement. But maybe we ask ourselves the question, what actually do we learn from? And we are learning from failures. So that would mean, if we do not have failures to learn from, we cannot improve on a higher level. And this gap is something human intelligence needs to take care of. And that is why management consulting comes in. We cannot replace every human in every position, because that would mean that we stop in growing and in improving our services. Now that is on a more philosophical level. But to break it down, I think that might be a good starting point. From the management consulting perspective, I think everything is said, but I like to have a little bit more focus on the client's perspective. Client's perspective, this is what we are working for, and we need to find ways how to support the clients, and I think they are very, very interesting topics. The entire predictive part to deliver services in terms of predictive maintenance, predictive shipping, predictive delivery. These are services, these are processes that maybe and have to be improved. And that would contribute to the entire world, to the economy on a worldwide level. But the companies need to be prepared for it. If they don't have a proper governance, a proper data governance, IT governance, they don't even need to start with these projects. They will fail by definition. So somebody needs to guide them and support them from that perspective. And finally, I read a survey, I think a couple of weeks ago, from Boston Consulting, and they say 66% of AI projects fail. That's more or less the same percentage of IT projects that fail. And it's about mismanagement, not having a proper change management process in place, not being supported on very high level, on highest level of the enterprise. The same failures that are done when implementing IT systems. So actually we didn't learn from these failures, but maybe now it's a good starting point to accept that all these projects cannot be implemented by saying, do your job. They need to be implemented on a high level of management and need to be supported on a high level of the management structure. And that's, again, another point where our services come in, and I think why we are so important for the growth of the economy.
Okay, thank you, Robert. I would like to follow up on this. You mentioned about something that cannot be replaced by AI is the relationship that consultant with the client, right? So people are saying anything that can be standardized, AI will do a better job. anything that can be standardized process, and as long as you have data, and AI will do a better job than a human being. And I understand that under your tenure, that as I mentioned earlier, that the council has come up with this ISO 20700 guideline, which ironically is a very standardized procedure for consultants to follow. So with this guideline, the AI now knows that what step procedures the technology can follow and to to act as a consultant. But you said that there's a part that cannot be fully understood by the technology nowadays, is the interaction, is the relationship between the consultant and the company or the client. My question is, for the ISO 20700, how you integrate or consider this technology impact when you come up with the next version of guideline? Oh, would that play a role in reshaping or rehaul nowadays the standardized procedure?
Okay, very short question. Easy to answer. No, let me condense it to one point maybe. In the standard, we have a definition of how to set up a specific project. And the first question is, what's the scope of the project? And the scope of the project means, what do we want to achieve? And that's looking into the future. And if you would ask a standard, if you would ask AI, what would be the scope of the project for implementing AI, you will get very generic answers. You will get answers like improving service quality and so on and so forth. But to break it down, what does it mean for the future, for the specific company? This is something that needs, and it can only be done by the management, because they know where to go and they know the direction. AI is simply mathematics. And mathematics is always calculating with numbers, existing numbers, and not assuming future numbers. That's something else. That's human intelligence. And the standard says, define a scope, define what's the outcome, what are the methodologies to achieve, and so on and so forth. And this part is to initiate the proper project for this specific enterprise in the specific situation. And that cannot be replaced. You can be supported, you can get ideas, you can be supported in setting up the report and other things, but the main task, it's on you.
Okay, thank you. And how about Francisco? What's your thought on this?
Thank you thank you to everybody for inviting me. And this is a challenging question, and I should ask to focus one point in answering to this question. What is the value that consulting industries, consultants' projects are keen to produce? And we need to focus the value. If the value is to collect data and writing report in order to make leaders able to take decision, I think that most of the time, not always, this kind of technology can be able to kill our profession. But I don't think this is the case, because our value is not related to collecting data and writing report. It's much, much more. We, in the past, in the last 20 years, we did suffer a different kind of problem in approaching the companies. In the small and medium enterprises, most of the time, the skills of the manager arise. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, the skills of the manager inside of the companies was not so high. So the added value coming from the consulting industry, interacting with the organization, was quite high. When companies starting to hire PhDs coming from the business schools and so on, then we live a different challenge. Now, how to interact with this different environment, which kind of value we had to provide. And then we did develop our skills, our services, in order to add value in a different way. Nowadays, these technologies are able to produce report that could be good or not, but it's related with the timing. If they are not so good today, maybe in the next year they will finalize the technology and they will be better and better. The point is to focus in which way we can add value to the company. No? Just adding elementary tools or giving them the chance to approach their market, redesign their strategy, and improve, taking by hands the organization. Hands means face-to-face, touch, no? And move to upper level. And then this is the great value that our industry, I think, will be able to offer to the organization. Of course, it's asked to us a different kind of energies, different kind of tools that maybe later we can talk about, which kind of competencies do we need to face this challenge in the future. So if we focus to the value, I think that we can have a much more clear idea how to interact with the client and take this challenge in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Very good advice that consulting is not only about collecting data and writing report. It's about providing unique value for your client. For example, help them to position well and to approach the market with the right strategy. Very good suggestion. And Soren, what's your insight?
Thank you, Professor Liu. Good morning, everybody. It's not very easy to be the last on the row. However, I thought what I'm going to say. First of all, what we have today as AI is not really artificial intelligence, it's augmented intelligence. It's a tool. Artificial intelligence is going to come, but thanks God, according to a friend of mine, we are not going to see it because it's going to happen in time sometimes. Anyway, just to give an example which is the difference between augmented intelligence and artificial intelligence, I'm going to give you an example from movies. I'm sure that everybody knows Iron Man. So all the little devices that they have, it's exactly the augmented intelligence that we have today, while the artificial should be something similar to Lieutenant Data from Star Trek. We are still not there. However, our profession, we are paid for adding value, not we are paid because we are a necessary evil like my friends, the auditors, or like my friends, the lawyers, and things like this. So we have to reinvent ourselves more often than any other profession, and we have to be able to use all the tools that the technology is putting on the table for us. I disagree with Nick. I like to say that. I disagree with Nick. I think that the youngsters have their role in this because they are very adaptive to what's happening, and we, the more experienced guys, sometimes are more resistant to change, even if we declare that we are open and we can do that. So youngsters have their role. The AI, it's the today AI, not the one that we have mentioned. It's a danger. It's a danger not for us initially. I think it's more dangerous for as I said, for accountants, for auditors, because they can look at data and do it faster. What we need is exactly the added value that we have to offer to our clients, and they should pay us for that. There are many other things, but Robert mentioned ISO 20700. ISO 20000, not only, also Professor Liu and everybody, we had a little chat before. I think that ISO 20700 has an education role to the, not only to the consultants, but mainly to the market. Francesco mentioned that the small and medium-sized enterprises are learning, but are still not at this level of resources and understanding that the large companies have. On the other hand, the large companies are very bureaucratic, and they hide themselves behind the decision of the boards from time to time. I'm sorry for the large companies which are in the room, but that's the reality. So our role is to make the things happening, and we have not only an economic dimension, but we have also a social dimension that Nick is mentioning always, and it's in our DNA as an association, because we have to understand the full picture. So I'm not very afraid, but we have to use it. So the consultant should be on the edge of transformation and use any tool that appear at the maximum, with the limitations that are still available. Okay.
Okay, thank you. And Nicholas, you have one point to add?
Yeah, it has occurred to me that within the consulting profession, artificial intelligence is going to be a great leveler. And this, I think, is particularly relevant to generally the membership of ICMCI, which is mainly made up of individual consultants or small practices. And what I mean by AI being a leveler is that for a small practice or for the individual consultant, there is a big dilemma. How do I divide my time between marketing and selling and negotiating to win an assignment and actually doing the assignment to earn money? Okay, I can't survive unless I actually work and earn a fee. But I can't work and earn a fee until I've actually done the marketing and the selling and the negotiation to win the assignment. And so how do I split my time? And traditionally, consultants have put a lot of time into marketing and selling and winning work, possibly even more than they put into doing the assignment. Now, with the help of artificial intelligence, that balance can change dramatically for a small single consultant or small practice, because that work of marketing, putting bids together, putting reports together at the end of the assignment in order to put the invoice in, all of that can be done with the help of artificial intelligence. And the time balance can shift greatly, giving the individual consultant, the small practice, more time to actually earn fees. That's one point. The other point I really wanted to make was about ensuring the correct use of artificial intelligence. And I mean not just consultants using it, but consultants advising clients into how to use it. Like any other tool, artificial intelligence can be used for good or it can be used for evil. It can be used correctly or it can be used wrongly. There must be some form of very precise and very official guidance. I wouldn't go so far as regulation, but governments are already thinking in that direction. But for us consultants, we need something that gives all of our consultant members and the profession a good, solid guideline on the good, correct, ethical, value-adding and client-centric way of using artificial intelligence.
Okay, thank you very much, Nicholas. I think the key takeaway from here is in the age of AI, for small and medium enterprises in the consulting industry, and it could be good. I mean, it is not only in the consulting industry. People are talking about this super individual, right? super individual. That means if you are really smart, and in the past, one single individual cannot accomplish everything, right? You have to have a supporting group of staff or juniors associate to help you to get the job done. But nowadays, with the technology, with AI, a super individual can emerge, and it will really have a great impact in the industry. The giant really have to worry about now if you have a very good consultant who have a very small size of staff, but can accomplish a lot nowadays. And the technology is only one factor when we talk about the future of the industry. I think there are many other factors that we have to consider. For example, the macroeconomics, the change in the society, and etc. So my next question is, how do you see the global consulting industry evolve over the next 5 years? In particular, how will digital and intelligent transformation, as well as the growing focus on sustainability, reshape the consulting practices? We will reverse the order. So Soren, you will be the first.
Okay, so I will let the forecast to Nick to tell us exactly. He's in power now. However, coming back, you mentioned sustainability. I think this is always has been a matter. Now it's a fashion. So we put sustainability as something that we are reporting, we are blaming it, we are complaining about doing these things if you are a company because it's extra cost and so on. Europe, you know, or if you don't know, I'm going to tell you now, it's very good in making standards for whatever, and we have a very tough standard on reporting on sustainability. And most of the companies, okay, for us was an opportunity because you have to help them to prepare a reporting on sustainability. And we thought initially, okay, if it's just a reporting for regulatory reasons, that means that you have to do it and check the box and that's it. Let's see if it's anything behind it. And you realize if you're doing properly and you enter into all the details related to sustainability reporting, which actually it's a matter of surviving at the end. You learn that actually you are dealing with all the aspects of the business, with all the elements, and you can help them to improve. It's something that the AI, it's helping you to understand, but it's not giving you the way how to do it. So I believe that in the next 5 years, our profession should reinvent ourselves by 3 times, most probably at least. New vocabulary will be on the table. New things will be, apparently new things will be, but at the end of the day, it's the same story. You have to understand the principle, you have to see all the dimension, economic, social, impact over the environment, because the people, especially the young generation, not a joke, but the first thing that we have found that is good to have sustainability reporting is that the young generation is willing to work in a company that is taking care on the environment. But it's not enough. Economically, this doesn't mean anything for the company itself. So I'm saying that the profession should continue to reinvent ourselves much quicker than we have done until now, to use all the tools, that's obvious, and to keep our way of looking at things in terms of adding value to the client. Without that, it will not work. I'm not afraid about the profession in the next 10 to 15 years. When somebody else is going to take the decision, is going to take the decision by discussing with a board which is also digital, I don't know, but that time is going to come later.
Francisco?
Yes. I want to consider definitely AI as a tool, full stop. Then I want to focus to the challenge that our profession is going to live in the next 5 years. Focusing another point that you had fixed in your introduction, and talking about the change in our society. And then it means in the market and in the human customers' purchasing behaviors. Yesterday we listened a very inspiring speech coming from Mr. Noah Xi from Key Mind Consulting, the CEO of Key Mind Consulting. He was talking about the switching from rationalism in the Western world to harmony in the Asian and Chinese culture, and how this affects also the human perspective, no? Human lifestyle in the next future. No? It was a very challenging and inspiring topic. Okay? It's not only switching from a business process engineering in the organization to something else. It's something of more deep. And what is happening in the world is that we are already living great change. After COVID, the great resignation coming from mostly of the top managers, starting from New York, in Europe, and so on, that choose to select a different way of working, different place where to live and add value to the organization, is a clear picture of what is happening. So, companies, organization, has to refix a new set of value in order to reach these new trends. And there is not enough history and data clear, useful to understand what the future is going to be. So for organizations and companies, they need to try to predict, try to redefine new products and services in order to fit the new set of priorities that customers in the global market has already fixed without understanding what are their real needs. It's a common trend that is moving all around. It's not only philosophy, but it's something that we never experienced till now. So the challenge is our profession, how is going to interact and anticipate what client organizations are going to ask us. So this is the big challenge, and I think that if we already focus to the value, to the experience, to the capability, no, to face with new challenge that our professions, our organization are keen to manage, we can add different kind of value, and we can take this challenge in the future.
Thank you. Rob?
Let me start first. I don't know if everybody of you know, but interestingly, ICMCI has published 2 white papers, one about sustainability and the second about artificial intelligence. Maybe that's a coincidence or not, but it needs to be mentioned. It demonstrates we are on the right track. But adding to what has been said already, I think the focus for what do have both topics in common from the perspective of enterprises? Both topics have in common, they raise the burden management has to take care of additionally to their regular workload. It's a new topic. And these are not the only topics. It's the new way of working. It's how to deal with other regulations. It's how to deal with regulations in terms of supply chain management. It's how to deal with IT systems coming up, not only because of AI, but also beside to AI. So they do have on their plate, I don't know how many things to deal with. And beside all these things, they should do they should care about their existing customers, maybe winning new clients, maybe approaching new markets. But that is put into the background step by step, actually for the time being, and that's maybe a mirror of the existing situation. If you're only compliant to regulatory aspects, especially with regards to sustainability, you do not have a competitive advantage. It's simply costing money. If the sustainability, which is usually handled either by the legal department or the marketing department, as long as it is handled there, it is just to do it because you have to do it. And that's costing money. You need to find a strategic competitive advantage and define this competitive advantage and follow the strategic direction. And that's to both. It's to AI and to sustainability. So saying that, it's a huge and tremendous field of activity for management consultants. We are looking into a bright future. We will not be able to spend all the money we earn because, yes, business is coming from itself. Interestingly, that's not the fact. I speak to many management consultants, and many management consultants say, we don't have enough access to clients. And when I talk to clients, they say, we don't have enough access to proper management consulting services. So this lack of matching, interestingly, is still a high barrier to improve the business, because if we don't match consulting services and client needs from a strategic perspective, we will stick in this situation. Having 100,000 of management consultants on the one side, 100,000 of companies on the other side, having the same issue, but not finding to each other. And so that's actually what we need to think about. What do we as ICMCI, but also what are the national institutes, how can we break that? How can we achieve a situation where both sides are happy? And for any reason, until now, including me, including you, we haven't achieved that. I don't know why. And I think we need to work on that. And as soon as we improve, time has changed radical, and we are behind again. And that's the situation. So let me take that as the task for all of us, every single management consulting institute, ICMCI. We need to work on that, and if we achieve to find a resolution, a solution for that, perfect.
Thank you. Nicholas.
Okay, so now I'm on the end of the line. Thank you, Soren. You know, we tend to look at our profession of management consulting as being relatively new. In fact, it really is one of the oldest professions in the world. The leaders of the Chinese dynasty, thousands of years ago, the emperors and the kings across Europe and the Middle East, they all had their advisors who gave them information, who gave them intelligence, who were used as a sounding board for discussion. So actually our profession, in its core, has been around thousands of years. And over those thousands of years, it's rolled on and evolved according to how civilization has evolved. And okay, early in the 20th century, it became what we now recognize as our profession, when it was formalized and if you like, the use of the advice spread from governments and rulers to the captains of industry. And so I don't see that there is any chance of our consulting profession coming to an end. It will roll and it will evolve the same as it has over the years. Now, with what is happening with technology, what is happening with, I have to say, the better education and awareness of managers and directors and business leaders in industry and commerce, the role of the management consultant is going to change in terms of what they're asked to do and what is perceived as their value. And I think we will probably see a divergence in possibly two different types of what we might call consultancy. There's going to be, as there has been predominantly over the recent past, what I would call the technical consultants. Those who help to implement IT systems and enterprise planning systems and so on. And all of that sort of stuff which is very much tool-based or application-based or technology-based. There will be that brand which will go on because technology will keep developing, evolving, and there will have to be experts who can handle that. But the true consultancy, the true management consultancy, will actually become those consultants who can be the professional friend to the business owner, to the business director, to the business manager. The person who is, who the client sees as being able to collaborate them, to be in partnership with them, to be able to be trusted to open their heart to them. And the future of real management consultancy for me is going to be much more on a person-to-person basis, on the relationship basis, than on the technical basis for the future. So, yes, we will always be there. But I think consultants will have to make their mind up in the future which direction they're going to go in.
Okay, we are either in the best timing or the worst timing, like say it's the best year and also it's the worst year to enter the industry. I see a lot of young face here today in the forum, in the audience. So my last round of questions is about your advice for the young generation of consultants. Obviously, nowadays, after 30 or maybe 40 years of work experience in this industry, you are all accomplished consultants. I'd like to ask you in the high side, so when you enter the industry, and if you are looking back, you will say, oh, gee, when I was young, if I had this understanding of the particular very important set of skills that I need to master before I can go out and change the industry or to be a successful consultant. What are the 3 key competencies that you think management consultant should have in order to succeed globally, in particular in this very ever-changing, evolving environment? We'll start with Nicholas.
Thank you.
So the question could be short. 3 keywords. 3 keywords. We are running out of time, so please
okay.
keep it short.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me put it this way. During my 35 years as a management consultant, there have been occasions when I think being a management consultant is the best thing in the world. There are other occasions when if a young person was to ask me whether they should become a management consultant, I would say, no, go and be a truck driver. For Pete's sake, don't be a consultant. It's a tough life, especially when you're working on your own or with small practice. one of the, I don't call it a competence, but one of the strengths which a young consultant needs to have is resilience. And I don't mean resilience in the form of arrogance, I know best and everything else, but resilience in terms of being able to take the hard knocks, to be able to live with putting in 10 bids and not winning a single one until one comes along. The resilience to be able to walk away from a client because they're asking you to do something unethical. The resilience to be able to take criticism from a client when you know you're right and stick to your guns. So for me, that is a real quality that a consultant has to have, tempered with respect for the client, respect for the profession. So it's what you might call the iron fist in the velvet glove of the professional. Now, before I steal everybody else's answer down the line, I'll hand over.
Okay, resilience is the key word, and also temper with respect. Very good. Robert.
Well, first of all, talking about competences, I would like to mention, by the way, that we have a very, very comprehensive competence framework in place. Most of you potentially know it because you are CMCs. So maybe the first step would be have a look in the competence framework and see, make a gap analysis. Hopefully you know what that is, and see where is a lack and where is a gap to deal with. But having a look in the tool case of a management consultant nowadays, I think knowing and being in the position to understand technology for their own work from the consultant side, but also the background from the client's perspective, that is becoming more and more critical and more crucial for successful projects. Yesterday I mentioned when I started my professional life, we wrote the reports on a machine that's called a typewriter. Some of you might know that, but most of you maybe have never seen it. That's this machine where you type in and set up reports, and we were paid by kilograms of report, more or less. So this time has gone, so we are used to change, we are used to adapt technology, and that is one very, very critical tool in the tool case. And another critical tool is always stick to the strategic background. Never forget the strategic background. We cannot add value to a company, to an enterprise, without understanding the strategic background. If you do not understand it, you are just somebody who trains people to a certain topic or something else. You need to understand how can I contribute to the strategic value of this project. And that includes, of course, the framework condition, understanding the framework conditions. If the consultant is outside in this world active, not understanding what does it mean to make business nowadays with all the situation, AI and SDGs and whatever we mentioned already, that's the wrong place to be. It's you do your services, you like you do, but understand the environment.
Thank you. Adaptability, open to the change, and also the mindset of focus on big picture, think strategically. Okay, good. And Francisco.
I want to focus to listening skills, the capability to understand, take what happened, and be ready to listen, because we live in a society where everybody is keen to talk, is keen to say, here I am. No? There is a lot of noise around. No? The capability to understand the key point is something that is missing in our profession. This is very, very important. Second point is take some part of the brain in order to be able to think out of the box. So creativity is also important in order to design something of different. And in our profession, if we move from collecting data to add a different kind of value, we need to be open and creative in order to design new things. Last but not least, is not related with theoretical project, but something should be improved. So the capability to produce and innovation in the organization is really, really, really important. We sell ourselves, no, in order to be trustable. Trustable means what you have done till now. Done is not only 200 projects designed, but what has happened, what is being improved in the organization thanks to this project. So innovation is the capability to create from a general design something of different in the real business. So listening, creativity, and innovation, I think this is important.
Thank you. So a good listener in order to understand your client's need correctly. And also a out-of-box thinker. So you have the courage to move away from the comfortable zone, and also a very good creator with innovative thinking. Okay, good. And
yeah,
sorry.
It's not very fair, so I'm the second time the last one. You can imagine that I was afraid if my colleagues, my friends actually, very good friends, will say exactly what I intended to say. They are not far away, but not as close. So I didn't like the 30, 40 years, because it reminds me exactly that I am between 30 and 40 years of experience in this thing. There are many youngsters which are asking what you need in order to start to become what school to go. I said, I don't think that the school is really important at the beginning, what kind of education. I think that education can be achieved, can be gained in time. But you need few skills, which are actually soft skills, more or less, which are really very, very important for our profession. And I didn't know when I started that I need that. Thanks God, by nature, I think that I have some of the elements necessary to do that. So first of all is communication skills, which is close to what Francesco has said. The second is presentation skills. So after you have something, you have to be able to transmit that. And the third one, maybe it's not so ethical. I look like Nick is looking at me being afraid. I think that the third one is influencing skills. So you have to be able to convince your client that the idea is in his advantage and looks like that, and is not only to present it, but also to convince it. This is more difficult when you talk with public entities, but I'm not entering into these details. So this is to me.
Okay, very good. It's not all about technical skill. It's about soft skill, communication, presentation, and the way, the ability to persuade, to convince your client.
Because at the end of the day, we are not the AI. We are the human component.
Okay. Time really flies by. I really appreciate all your insight and valuable, advice. And I think it's important to summarize. I think the future is here. We have to embrace AI inevitably. And there is a saying that in the future there are two types of countries. We used to say developed country or developing country, right? I think there will be two types of a consulting firm. AI developed consulting firm and AI developing consulting firm. So the technology will definitely disrupt the industry. But all people here with I again, 30, 40 years of experience, are very optimistic about the future of the industry. And we should be open to embrace the technology instead of running away or, away from it. And also, it's very important to focus on the value creation for client, which is the most important part of business consultant. And also for young generations, there are opportunities here, and also definitely there are many challenges that you have to face in the future. Be resilient, be a strategic thinker, and also be a good listener and be a good communicator. And with that, I will conclude our roundtable discussion. And let's give a round of applause for all the panelists for the very good suggestion and advice. Thank you.